This goes for you guys out there as well. If you think you can just get in a relationship and then go, right, fuck it, I'm going to drink beers and whatever, do not be shocked when she leaves. If you don't look the same as when you entered the relationship, don't be shocked if she doesn't want to jump into bed with you anymore. You know, she made a decision. It's like going for a purchase at a store. Like imagine going and buying a Range Rover. I'm going to buy a Range Rover. Nice. 3 years later, they come knocking on your door from Range Rover and they're like, oh, by the way, after 3 years, we downgrade this to a Mini. Hello guys and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about, is it okay to tell your girlfriend or your wife that they've gained weight or they don't look as sexually desirable as they used to? Now I know I'm going to get attacked for this video, I always do, it's just something I'm willing to do and willing to take on. But I just like to fight the logical side of things, okay? So number one, if you're getting into a relationship and you don't expect your partner to always not look to look their best all the time, then there's something wrong with you. You know, nobody is going to look their best all the time. And secondly, if you're expecting your partner not to deteriorate, if you're planning to be with somebody for longer than 6 months and you expect them not to deteriorate in terms of sexual appearance, sexual desirability and beauty and whatever, then, you know, you want to seriously consider your logical decision making or what you're trying to do in life, because naturally, a woman isn't going to look the same at 40 as she was at 20, especially after like 2 or 3 kids, okay? It's just illogical. You can look good, you can make the best of what you've got, but nobody's going to look exactly the same. But the key to what I said there is to make the best of what you've got. Now, everybody gets their own choice in life, okay? Everybody can have their own choice. If you're with a woman and she wants to just eat chocolate bars all day and sit around and not go to the gym, that's her personal choice. I don't agree with it. I think if you're young, you should try and make the best of what you've got. Well, look, at any age, you should try and make the best of what you've got. And especially if you're young, you should have the foresight to know that physical health and well-being is good for the short term and the long term for multiple different reasons. As I discussed before, the mini advantages theory. It happens with women too. You can give yourself advantages, but so many people have that ego where they're like, no, this is what I'm going to do and this is the route that I'm going to go down. And then the partner gets offended because they don't want to do the same thing. You know, maybe the woman wants to go to the gym, the guy wants to sit on his ass and get lazy. Vice versa, okay? But if you're in that scenario where your partner is putting on weight and they're at an age where they shouldn't be, okay? Because it's not, putting on weight isn't natural, okay? In order for me to bulk, I've had to eat about 4,000 to 5,000 calories per day to gain weight as quickly as I have and go from about 13 stone. Let's do it in kilograms. So about 80 kilograms up to about 96. I'm about 96 kilograms right now. In order to do that, I've eaten like a pig. All good food, but I've eaten like a pig and I've lifted the heaviest shit I could fucking find, okay? It's hard to gain that much weight and I still have pretty much a six-pack that you can see. In order to get really heavy and lose your shape, I don't know how the fuck people do that. I don't know. No, I get that I'm training alongside it, but I don't know how people can let that slip away from them. I have no idea. Because I'm trying fucking hard to gain weight and I still look pretty good, okay? And I'm not just saying that to blow my own ego. I can just visibly see in the mirror, okay, I'm gaining a little bit too much weight now. Let's drop the calories slightly and just maintain at that level. And it's really easy to do. Now, I understand that some people have maybe type 2 diabetes is brought on, you know, by lifestyle habits. But type 1, I have some sympathy for. That's epigenetics. That's your parents doing that, okay? I understand that point of view. But when you've got a partner gaining weight, like I said, there's no real excuse because you've got a calorie surplus and a calorie deficit. Ricky Gervais said this, the comedian. He said, in order to gain weight, you have to put more in than you're burning off. It's a very simple system, yet people manage to do it. So what it says to me, okay, there's multiple reasons that this can happen, but as the core element, if I have a partner that is gaining weight at a young age, I think to myself, that's a lack of discipline. Because everyone knows what they should be doing, but it shows me a lot more personality traits than I'd wish to see. It shows me a lack of discipline, a lack of focus, a lack of self-motivation. Because when my alarm clock goes off at 5 a.m. and I'm lifting weights and they're not in the gym, well, I can see a clear personality difference between the two of us. There's nothing to stop you, whether you're 500 pounds overweight or not, set an alarm for 5 a.m. Nothing to stop you doing that. Now, like I said, if you want to be overweight, fair enough. But maybe you aren't the person for me. You know, and a lot of people have this where something is promised. I heard this quote before where a lot of relationships don't work because what is promised in courtship isn't delivered in the relationship. So you might meet a woman might meet a man. Let's do it in reverse so I don't get too much shit off this. All right. A woman might meet a man, real good looking guy, shredded, handsome, good strong jawline and stuff. After 6 years, he's eating like a pig. He's given up on life. He hasn't hit the gym at all. She's now with a guy who, personality-wise, she still likes because that's who she's fallen in love with, okay? But she's looking, she's like, that's not the guy that I chose, though. You know, if I'd known it was going to end up like this, I might not have got together in the first place because I quite like my man to be desirable. I'm going to stay with him out of respect because now we're in a relationship, but I'm going to try and convince him to train harder, to change his diet, etc., because I liked the him that I first met. What was promised in courtship, this wasn't delivered in the relationship. That's a bit unfair. You know, you wouldn't get that in a business sense, would you? If you were doing a business contract with somebody, and, you know, to be honest, this video goes for men and women. I was just thinking, you know, if you're a woman watching this, same fucking thing applies. If you want to tell your boyfriend he's overweight or whatever, you don't like it, listen to what I've said. It's the same fucking shit, all right? But if you were doing this in a business sense and you said, do you know what? We will deliver 2,000 units and we will deliver them at this time on this day. Okay? Sounds great, Chris. Can't wait to do business with you, buddy. Nice. Okay, we'll deliver. 2 weeks later, you deliver the goods. They've been calling you, you haven't been answering. You deliver the goods 2 weeks later and you only deliver 1,000. So half the order total, half the capacity that they've been asking for. They're going to be angry. Okay, because what was delivered didn't match what was promised. And it's the same in a relationship. You know, you meet a guy with a six-pack and then 5 years later he's got a beer belly. You're going to be like, well, you know, I still love you for you, but this is showing me a different side to you. Like, you don't have to look like a Greek god, but this is like, I thought when I met you, you were self-motivated, you were disciplined, you were focused, you liked the gym, because I also like the gym. But now I'm looking and I'm going, this isn't the same guy that I met and got with. It's completely different now. And it's the same for men. You know, if a woman puts on, if you meet a woman, right, men are visual creatures. We look at women, we think, wow, beautiful, sexy. This is going to be fantastic. My life's going to be better having her around, okay? And then you get to know the personality, but everybody is attracted by looks in the first place, all right? It's a deal helper. You know, it really helps in that scenario. But let's say you start dating each other. Every time you're meeting in the first place, she's wearing like nice tight clothes. Her body's unbelievable. The sex is unbelievable. And that influences the time that you spend together. Don't get it twisted. When you're with a beautiful woman and you're like, oh, she's got a great personality. That's very much influenced from her being beautiful or, you know, having a nice body and stuff. You're going to have more fun together because you're always going to be in a good mood. And in the early days, if she's like, oh, babe, why'd you do that? You're going to be like, all right, sorry, my fault. You're just going to laugh it off. If she starts to like gain weight and stuff, you two are going to butt heads a lot more, because naturally men are visual creatures. You're not going to be as worried about losing her as you were before. You're going to look and be like, well, you know, I actually think I can do better now. She doesn't have as much pussy power, hold over me as she used to, which is a real thing. Okay, I explained that in a previous video. I don't think it's a good thing, but that is naturally going to happen. And if you got with that woman in the first place because out of all the girls that you were dating at the time, talking to, looking at, whatever, she's the one that you liked the most. And as men, we're about 80% visual, sexual. You know, that's what we like. We look at women, we're like, okay, she's got the hips, she's got the waist, okay, boobs, good size. Like, we do that, like it or not. Women who are watching this, or men, or whatever, that's what we do. And if a woman starts to deteriorate and lose that through age, you know, it hurts a little bit, but it's natural. So I think in that scenario, suck it up, okay? You know, she's making the best of herself and she's just getting older. So are you, buddy. It's all right. But if you're with a woman who's, let's say, 23 years old and she's stunning. She's got everything that you wanted, perfect figure. You get to 25 and she's pretty much lost all of that. She's stopped doing her squats. She's grown a belly. She's, gained a ton of weight in her face, and she just doesn't strike like she used to, okay? And it's self-inflicted. You've treated her like a queen, whatever. You've taken her out for meals, left, right, and center, maybe too many. And she's stopped hitting the gym. She's got lazy. She's like, oh, I've got a boyfriend now. It's fine. I don't have to do all the things that I used to do. That's a bad contract. That's a bad business deal. What she was promising to you, what drew you in like a fly trap, was then immediately cut off. It was like, hey, come over here, snap. Clamped you in and went, now you're trapped. You're fucked now. Like, I'm pregnant. Damn, you're fucked. That happens all the time. And this is why I think as a man, and a woman, but as a man, you should be able to question your partner. If you can't do it, who else can? All right? And if they take offense, I think that's their fault. I think that's their ego being hurt. I think deep down, they know it. They've just gotten lazy, okay? Because if I got out of shape, right, I actually got really skinny about 6 months ago. Before that, I was close to 16 stone of muscle. A lot of stressful things happened. The gym's closed. I must have dropped down to like 13 stone. My ex-girlfriend didn't really say a lot. She was like, you still look good. You still whatever. And then, occasionally she'd be like, well, you were bigger before, but it's the gyms. They're closed and we've been through a lot lately. She understood, but I knew that she preferred the bigger version of me. So whenever I came back from like doing pull-ups and stuff, I looked a bit bigger. She preferred it. Okay, she liked it. She liked it when my body was bigger, when I ate more and stuff like that. That was her preference. And that was kind of the me that she met. So I understood that. And I knew, and I took that on the chin. I was like, I'm getting skinny, fuck. Like, if I could get bigger, it would be, she'd probably find me more attractive. This relationship would probably improve somewhat. Now, it would be the same in reverse. And I'm not talking about her now, I would never do that, okay? But if I met a woman who had like a nice thin waist, let's say, I don't mention boobs because I think boobs are just a age thing. They're just a natural thing. Like, you can't really stop that, okay? But like lower body, like arse, thighs, I think belly, I think face and stuff like that. If your girlfriend is not taking care of her diet, not taking care of her skin, not taking care of her hair like she used to, not smelling as good as when you first met, spraying everything on and shampoos in the hair. She's wearing like baggy clothes. She stopped going to the gym. She's grown a belly and her butt's not as big as it was. And you're a butt guy. Then yeah, naturally you're going to lose attraction. But you've got a connection with each other and you don't want to leave for just a nonchalant reason of appearance. Like we'll all agree, leaving a woman for appearance sake is a silly reason. But sometimes you have to do it if you're not happy. If what's being promised beforehand isn't delivered in the relationship, then you've been duped. You've been tricked. In the real world, we would call that a scam. Okay, if we're not being PC, we'd call that a scam. The definition of a scam is to be led on, to be trapped into something, for something to be promised and then not delivered. We would write a review on Amazon. Oh, this was a scam. I got scammed. They asked for 50 quid, nothing got delivered. This website is a scam. If it's the same in a relationship, if you meet a woman and she deteriorates, you would sit there and go, that could be a bit of a scam. Like if a guy shaves off his beard and he's really ugly, it's a bit of a scam. Okay, it's a bit of a catfish. Or what they call, they call it cap fish as well. You wear a cap, you take it off and you don't look as good. Probably somebody like me, if I'm being honest. But then there's also guys with a beard. So they shave off the beard, they don't look as good. There's probably a name for that. It's probably like beard fish or something like that, right? Face fish. And it's a lot of it happens with women and makeup. They take off their makeup. Like a lot of guys say, take a woman swimming on the first date. I get all this, and they won't look as good when they take it off. You've been somewhat catfished, okay? Makeup fished. But the same is true when it comes to the weight. And that would be a scam. So if your girlfriend is putting on weight, she's gained a lot of pounds, she doesn't look as good. Like I said, it's a weird reason to end a relationship for. So I believe that it's good to go, hey, listen, take a seat. I want to have a chat. Now, first of all, I'd be like, it never fucking helps, guys, but it's better than just blurting it out because I've actually done this once in my life already. But saying, look, or twice I think I might have done this. But saying, look, love you to bits, personality, best ever, best person I've ever been with, best person I've ever met, don't want to break this relationship up, happy to be in this relationship, want this to keep going. But, if I'm being honest, I don't think you look the way you used to look when we first met. I believe, just from visuals, I could be wrong, it could just be me getting lazy, you don't look the same as when we met. Now, I appreciate you've gotten older, as have I. There's flaws that I've gained along the way, but I feel like fitness is not one of them. I feel like I've improved my fitness. I feel like that's something you could be doing just for health purposes. Appearance sake, yeah, look, I can live with that. I love you to bits. But in a health sense, if we're going to have kids and you're gaining weight, it increases, science shows it increases health defects in the child. An argument like that put across in that manner, she'll get angry. She'll always get angry, right? There's no way to win. But when you put it like that, it plants a seed so that they can actually think about it, and then they might start doing something about it, okay? Now you've crossed that barrier, and you've got over it, and you've put it out in the world. She gets angry, and she's like, fuck you, she love me for me. I've got to be honest, you should probably leave. Because if you're the type of guy who wants somebody who maintains themselves, keeps themselves in good shape, that's probably not the person for you. That's probably not the person for you. When I get to 40, I know for a fact that the woman I'll probably be older, actually. I'm looking at Dan Bilzerian, he's 40. He's not even thinking about that shit yet. People like that, they're still having the time of their life. Stem cells and TRT, they still look like they're 20 years old, man. It's crazy. But if you get in that scenario, okay? You get in that scenario with a woman, she's going to be angry at you. She's going to be pissed off. But like I was saying, when I get to 40 years old, I am going to find a woman who maybe is in her early to mid-20s and hits the gym religiously. I'm going to find it. Like, I spoke about mini advantages before, all right, guys, in another video. That is a mini advantage. Finding a girl who is in love with fitness pretty much secures that she's going to look better for longer. Like thick women who hit the gym religiously, they're probably going to last a lot longer. Because put it this way, right? If a woman hits the gym religiously and takes care of herself, she's not going out drinking every fucking night of the week, right? She's going to look better when she gets older. That's just natural. It's the same with a man. Women who are thick, they don't sag as quick. And if they do, they still kind of look good. All right? Like a 50-year-old woman who was thick at 20 still looks good at 50. She's not just like stick thin with nothing left. These are mini advantages. That's just the way I think. Okay? Right or wrong, I don't care. I like putting my views out there. I like setting up mini advantages. But if a woman, like I said, is gaining weight, or a man is gaining weight, and this goes for you guys out there as well. If you think you can just get in a relationship and then go, right, fuck it, I'm going to drink beers and whatever, do not be shocked when she leaves. If you don't look the same as when you entered the relationship, don't be shocked if she doesn't want to jump into bed with you anymore. She made a decision. It's like going for a purchase at store. Like imagine going and buying a Range Rover. I'm going to buy a Range Rover. Nice. 3 years later, they come knocking on your door from Range Rover, and they're like, oh, by the way, after 3 years, we downgrade this to a Mini. You go, but wait, I paid for this. This is the decision I made to have this car. Yeah, I know, but after 3 years, we downgrade it to a Mini and you just don't get the Range Rover anymore. You'd be pissed. You'd be swinging punches. So why should it be any different in the relationship? In 20 years' time, that Range Rover is going to look shit compared to the current cars that are out there. Well, yeah, that's normal. That's called aging. That's called moving with the times. That Range Rover is never going to look as good as a Range Rover in 20 years' time. That might be able to fucking fly and all sorts, It's never going to look as good. But in the short term, if 3 years later, your beautiful brand new 2020 plate Range Rover now gets exchanged for a 2011 plate Mini, you're going to be pissed off. And it's the same with men, women, whatever. Like, guys, don't get comfortable when you get in a relationship. And if your girlfriend tells you you've gained weight, you don't look as good, I'm not as attracted, don't be shocked. Don't take it as a punch to the face or a hurt to your ego. Go, okay, she might be right. I've let myself go. I've let myself slip. If you've got skinny, you've let yourself slip. Or if you're not doing the things that you used to do, like getting up at 5 a.m. Instead, now you're getting up at 9. And one of the reasons she loved you is because you were motivated and driven, but you've changed. Then, because it's not all weight related, right? You're no longer now delivering what was promised when you were courting, when you were dating in the first place. You're now delivering a completely different product to the one that was promised. And it's the same with women. If she is not delivering on what was promised prior to a relationship, regardless of the emotions and feelings that you have garnered for her along the way, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because it's kind of a smack to the face. It's kind of cheeky to do. I've seen so many women say, oh, now that I've got a boyfriend, I'll get fat. Now that I've got a husband, I can get fat. It's like, that's entrapment. That's very, very rude. Legally, that's entrapment. You probably could win in court for that. You know, but that statement being put out on social media, now I can get fat, you probably in some courts in the world could win on an entrapment case, drawing somebody in and honeypotting them and then showing them the real goods. That's somewhat evil. It's somewhat evil. You're actually making somebody else's life worse from promising something that didn't actually exist or you knew was going to fade in the long term. Now, if it's just looks, it is what it is, guys. You know, looks don't matter. But something, physical fitness that can, and health more than anything for me, that can be changed, that can be improved, that can be maintained. If we then have children and their epigenetics are different and they're born with defects because you decided to go out on the piss and drink fucking 10 beers a night, go and sit with your girls, eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream and watch Sex and the City on reruns, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to be a little bit pissed off there. You know? And that is why I think there should be no argument in telling somebody who you're with, your partner, who else could tell them, right? Who you both trust, and you're seeing every day, so you can make a better representation of that change than anybody else. Or you can have a better, let's say, you've got more experience of seeing that person go day to day, so you know what they used to look like and what they look like now. You've seen that change happen for yourself in real time. You've probably got pictures together. It's easier for you to make that call, okay, to analyze. You are the best person to be positioned to make that decision. Now, if they get offended, like I said, you don't want to be with them anyway. Give them a chance to see how they react and if they change, right? But you have to put the question out there. And if they're the type of person that goes, fuck you, you're a dick, whatever, and carries that on, it's like, I can't believe you said that, I'm just going to eat more. Yeah, well, leave, because they're immature. Anybody who doesn't want to focus on fitness and health probably is a little bit immature because it's so important to life. If she's not offended and she wants to do something about it, you know, that's great. You might have a keeper on your hands there, but you'll both be happier in the long term. You'll both be happier. And I know all women like to think he'll love me regardless of whatever happens. Drop the ego. Drop the ego. And a lot of guys do this too. You know, you're with each other because your initial attraction to each other brought you together, and then you learnt personalities. But if you were to take that attraction completely away, dependent on the circumstances, you know, if like somebody ends up in a wheelchair from being in the Marines or something, you know, if I had a wife that happened to, I'd stay with her, obviously, because I'd be like, well, that, you know, it's not self-inflicted. That doesn't change who she is as a person. That doesn't change anything. Gaining weight day after day after day after day after day and seeing it happen and doing nothing about it is self-inflicted. I'm sorry, because there's a calorie surplus. And this isn't fat shaming. Shut all that shit up. I'm not accepting any comments like that on this channel. This is just logical biology. You eat too much food compared to what you burn, you will gain weight. And it doesn't happen overnight. Oh, I woke up and I was 200 stone lot heavier. No, it doesn't creep up on you. It happens every single day. Every single day. Every single day, you can see your body fat percentage go up. You can stand on the scales, it changes. You can see your appearance every day going up. Clothes that you're wearing don't fit anymore, it's going up. This doesn't happen by accident. So for me, you have to ask that question. You have to confront them about it because it says more about personality than it does about appearance, which for me is the real concern for long term.